Hi guys, welcome back to the channel Everyday Carry for everyday people. The time now is currently 11:15 local time, South Africa. Obviously I'm not in South Africa, so yeah, that's something to bear in mind. Just a couple of quick updates before we start. Officially, the number of cases globally has gone up to 246,762, which is quite worrying. Death toll is now at 10,062, which is pretty disturbing to say the least. South Africa has 150 confirmed cases of Convid-19. It puts us number 52 in the world out of 182 countries and one international conveyance, that being the Diamond Princess ship. Disclaimer straight off the top, I'm not a medical practitioner, nor is my channel sponsored by any private institute or government institute for that matter, so the views that I express here are based on statistics that are available to me. Number one, I have to say I'm really proud of my government for the way they've been handling the outbreak of COVID-19 in South Africa. When compared to a lot of other countries, I'm really very grateful for the type of leadership that we have. I'm also very grateful to leadership in government that has and continues to meet with relevant stakeholders in terms of trying to curb the outbreak. I was reading an article where the Honorable President actually met with different faith leaders, asking them to, please do what they need to speak to their congregations, have them minimize it. I still think that having 100 people in any space during this time here is not very viable or feasible. So my appeal to all leaders in their respective faiths, whether it be Muslim, Christian, Jewish, Hindu, whatever the case may be, guys, please try and, if at all possible, mitigate the risk by not holding services in churches, shuls, mosques, temples. This is an outbreak that we haven't seen for a very long time, at least not in my lifetime, not to this extent here. So that's something to please bear in mind. Please guys, if you are going out, which I don't recommend, if you have access to surgical gloves and surgical masks, please wear them. Social distancing is important. I do understand and I fully appreciate the fact that people need to get up, they need to go to work, they need to take public transportation. I accept the fact that our country's public transportation isn't the best in the world, but it is what we have, and I'm sure that every effort is being made to improve on that there. As an expat, I am extremely concerned about the way things are developing all over the world, but in particular in South Africa. While I might not be in South Africa at the moment, I've got family, I've got friends, I've got loved ones that are there. Some of them have pre-existing conditions, some of them are elderly, so it is a worrying factor, as it should be for all of us. That being said, given rise to panic is not really going to help anybody's case. I'm very proud of the way that South Africans have been dealing with us here. Very proud of the way that government and faith leaders and just civil society at large has been dealing with it. After all the negativity that we've had over the last decade and a half, to actually see South Africans come together and stand together is really, really reassuring. It proves that all the times where I stood up for my country and my countrymen when I've been abroad wasn't in vain. Yes, there were some nasty comments and stuff like that at the beginning, particularly when South African expats, when Wuhan were repatriated back to South Africa. It's understandable. People are scared, as they should be. But that doesn't mean that we should give in to panic. That being said, we are in the thick of things now, and I will continue to pray for every single South African. I am going to try and reach out to anybody in government or the business sector, or whatever the case may be, to ensure that once this passes, and it will pass, we become a lot more self-sufficient and are able to better prepare for the next one that comes. And sorry to say, but there will be a next one. But yeah, I mean, with all of that being said, guys, please just keep in mind that we are in the thick of things where at all possible. Basic things: follow the rules. Government has been very responsible in the way that they have quarantined and locked down the country. I think it's only a matter of time before we go into a total lockdown. I'm sure it's going to be sooner rather than later. I know that that's a pretty scary and daunting thought for most of us. It's not something that we're used to. It's not something that we are prepared for. So please, while restrictions are being put in place, I know small businesses are hurting. I can fully appreciate that there. Closing bars and pubs and restaurants and all the rest of it from 6 p.m. at night hurts people's businesses. I completely agree with that there. But remember, this too will pass, and provided we take this time and reflect and look at how we can, as South Africans, can become far more self-sufficient, we can better prepare ourselves for the next time that we hit with something of this magnitude here. I'm a firm believer that South Africa definitely has the talent, the technical know-how, the foresight to be able to ensure that we do become a lot more self-sufficient, that we do look at the short-term pain and take it in our stride in order to achieve long-term gain, not just for us, but obviously for our fellow countrymen, for our kids and our grandkids and our great-grandkids. That's the reason that we get up every day and go out and work to provide for our families, to be responsible members of society. So getting back to certain things that we can do now that we are in the thick of things. If at all possible, guys, refrain from going out unnecessarily. If you go over to the YouTube channel Peak Prosperity, John and them have actually put out a very good video today with regards to what the spread looks like if we go out every day, if one infected person goes out every day, as opposed to if they go out 25% of the time, 50% of the time, and 75% of the time. It's impossible for us not to go out at all for a period of 30 days. It's just not going to work. People need to go out. They need to get access to basic things like food, other amenities that are needed. So the things that we can do is, if we don't have to go out, don't go out. If we are going out and we have access to surgical masks and gloves, wear them. We obviously don't know who is infected, who isn't infected. So as civil society, it's our responsibility to ensure that we protect ourselves, our families, and our countrymen. Um, when we get back home from being outside, try to take off your clothes and leave them outside. Leave your shoes outside if it were possible. Make sure that we do not touch our faces. Wash your hands. If you have hand sanitizer, that's great. It's excellent. It's there for convenience for when we're out. If you don't have it, don't panic. Don't, you know, go on a rampage. Soap and water works wonders. I mean, whether it's Lifebuoy, I would recommend personally Sunlight. I think it pretty much works the best. Domestos for our clothes when we come back into the house from outside. Basic things. Wipe down any tin foods and stuff like that there that you purchase. Please refrain from public gatherings if it's not entirely necessary. I know we are a society that thrives on civil action and civil liberties. That's what makes our country so great. But in times like this here, please, let's dial it back a bit for ourselves, for our families, our loved ones, our friends, and by extension, our countrymen and women. That being said, I'm really, really proud of the way that South Africa as a whole, I'm talking about civil society, I'm talking about governments, I'm talking about faith leaders, I'm talking about everybody. I'm really proud of the way that you guys are handling it back home. There isn't much information about the Convid-19 virus. We don't know. Things are in trial process. So where we can practice social distancing, let's do it. Where we can't, let's try and take precautions to ensure that we at least mitigate some of that risk there. What else is it? Yes, this virus will pass, guys. I'm very, very proud of the way that information is being disseminated in South Africa. It's straightforward, it's honest, it's blunt, and that's something that we need, because we need to keep a cool, calm head. The only way we can really keep a cool, calm head is if we know all the facts. Once we have the facts, we can then readjust our lives to meet said facts. I'm, as I'm sure you can tell, I am pretty nervous. Yes, I was in, and I still am in China, where the epicenter of it was, not Wuhan, but still in mainland China. Things are slowly returning back to normal. People are doing the best that they can to mitigate risks. This too will pass, guys. I highly recommend praying to whatever you believe in. I'm not here to judge, but prayer is good. Being mindful and respectful of our fellow countrymen, equally important. Trying to mitigate the risk, always good. Government has done exceptionally well in terms of shutting down ports of entries. I'm hoping that they will put the country into a complete lockdown. Yes, the economic consequences of that are going to be dire, but protecting our people should be our first priority. And I think the way that government has prepared us for this year has been as good as it can get. So that's something to bear in mind. Yeah, more than that, pretty much all I can say is be safe out there. Be mindful and respectful of those around us. There's a lot of bad things that have happened over the past couple of years, hell, in the past couple of months in South Africa. A crisis like this here is devastating. It's crushing. But a virus like this here can actually help us rise to our better sides and our better nature, which I believe South Africans have innately. It's built into us. We will get to the other side of this year, and we will be stronger for it. That being said, we need to take precautions right now while we're in the thick of things, and we need to start looking forward, so that when we experience another global disaster, whatever it might be, as South Africans, we're a lot more prepared for it. We have a lot more access to resources. Until then, guys, be safe out there. I will be praying for everybody back in South Africa. To those of you who know me, if you have any questions, please drop them in the comment section below. I will answer them. As I said, I'm putting out a video now on a daily basis, because I know how bad things can turn and how quickly, but I also know how resilient we are as South Africans. Until then, stay safe.